Hey guys, this is probably going to be my most valuable video. Um, I wanted to discuss the topic of losing weight and what goes on underneath, and this concept of the switch. Which, what I mean by that is the switch from burning mode, burning energy, to or storing energy. And what really doesn't get talked about is, everyone says, oh, low carb, low carb. That's true. But they don't say really at a deeper level what really is important when we're talking about, low carbs and weight loss. So the thing that really controls, and before I say anything else, just a disclaimer, this is a raw data. I'm just sharing what I've learned, and if there's any changes you're doing, please consult with your healthcare professional before doing any changes. But what the internet and all the doctors that focus on health are saying is that low carb is 50 grams of carbs, which is not a lot. Actually, it's just a can of black beans, refried black beans or something like that, right? Roughly. Uh, what happens is, I'm going to share this chart again, just so you guys see. Insulin release, fats have the lowest insulin release in the body, protein have the next higher release, and then the red are carbs, high glycemic, low glycemic, they have the most release. And why that is important is because the more insulin you release, the more you're telling your body, the cells in your body, there's energy in the bloodstream, take it. And it's a very forceful process. When insulin is in the bloodstream and it's done, cells take the energy from the bloodstream, they have no option. They have to take it, right? And if they can't force the energy into the current cell count your body has, they'll create new cells, which is where weight gain starts, right? Because those cells get created and they take in energy and you gain volume, right? So the switch, what do I mean by that is that it's the key is insulin control, right? Insulin control. How you achieve that? Well, it's you eat carbs once a day, and you eat carbs that are really good for you, right? Low glycemic, so you get the least amount of insulin released, which for a lean body it's between 18 and 40. That's what the World Wide Web says. So if you eat carbs in a window once a day, you minimize the amount of insulin that's coursing in your bloodstream in a day, which means that when the insulin is gone, you're technically in the burning mode, right? You're moving around, you're active, and the cells are expanding energy, so they need to take in energy from somewhere, and that's going to be the reserves, which is what we want if we really focus on weight loss, right? So there's a lot of content out there about weight loss and what to do, and unfortunately a lot of it is business, and a lot of it has the yo-yo effect, and a lot of it has confusion. So what I'm sharing here is a natural process, how to achieve that, so you don't fall into the yo-yo effect, or you create stability, you get down, and you basically stabilize, right? Because weight loss, really the way it works is, you're high and then you lose some weight, you gain some weight, but it's like that, right? And then at some point you may stabilize if you use this approach. So there's actually a magic number for everyone, I would feel. It maybe not exactly, but it really depends on what the food you eat, the sources of food that will create insulin spikes, right? But if you have a healthy diet and you eat good carbs, good food, you will release less insulin. And this is a number. Think of it as a 1 unit of insulin, maybe just like a tiny droplet. Think of it like that, so it makes it simple. But basically, once the insulin is in the bloodstream, it'll course around the body, and it's telling all the cells, take in more energy, take in more energy, right? So think of it like that. You're telling all the cells to take in more energy. So if you're not active in a day, completely not active, right, then that number should be low, because you're not going to burn it, you're not going to use it, right? That's where I think where the doctors are saying that 50 grams is kind of the average. And of course everybody is different, right? When we're talking about someone who's 6'7" and 350 pounds versus a woman that's 5'6" and 97 pounds, it's gonna differ, right? The amount of insulin that gets released and the energy that gets absorbed into the cells, right? So it really has to be done at an individual basis. It's not like someone can tell you. So the switch and this concept is really to be mindful that you want to be in the burning mode more than the storing mode when insulin is in the bloodstream, because you ate carbs. Now if you're active, then you should add some carbs proportional to the amount of to the exercise and the amount of energy that you're gonna need and use. So really that's the balance. You really have to figure that out on your own and balance it out. But basically it's you could test it, good carb sources, and basically eat once a day those carb sources. And actually people are saying, some good experts out there are saying that it's good to eat carbs late in the evening. I don't know, it really depends on everyone, but I think when you're active you should eat them before the activity, and when you're not active, I don't think it really matters when you eat them in a day, because as long as you kind of eat them. So the switch is very important, because what it will do, it will just completely start dropping off extra cells that you have created before, right? Because you're going to be in the burning mode, and especially when you're eating the right amount of carbs, right? So I'll refer back to that 50 gram. It's really a fistful of black refried beans in a day. That's not a lot, and that's for my body size, my body weight, right? And once you're stable and you don't have cravings, you're used to this diet, you will not have issues. That will really be enough for you in a day, if you eat that many carbs. So once a day, and then you'll just and you have to be patient, because the switch, you'll see results really fast actually if you do that. I think that's why a lot of people have a very difficult time losing weight, even if you eat good. If you're not using this method, right? That's why intermittent fasting is so popular, right? Because that's exactly what it does, right? You're in the burning mode and not storing mode, right? So that's where we get in trouble. We eat something and everything's packed with carbs. If you go to the store, I mean, it's pretty bad. So you have to be very careful. Natural good carbs are probably best: sweet potato, black beans, carrots, things like that. Nature made, no barcode. And so you leverage the switch and do it the right way. And of course, if you're hungry, if you start getting massive cravings or something, then you may have to slow down, right? And it's fine to eat a little bit more in a day, but as long as you're consistent with this, and you're 4 days in a week you're great, and then 3 days maybe you weren't that great, right? That's still a lot better than if you were all days you weren't using this. So, and once you get used to this, you will leverage it really well, and lose as much weight as you need to. All right, that's all I got. Bye.